This is the HomeTech Podcast for Friday, February 16th. From Sarasota, Florida, I'm Seth Johnson.
From Reynoldsburg, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
And welcome to the HomeTech Podcast about home automation, home technology, and Super Bowl Sunday.
Yay.
I think you guys would be proud of me. I watched nearly half of the game.
Ooh.
Was it the first half or the second half?
It was the first half. Our neighbors invited us over. They had made some brisket on the smoker and some other stuff, and so they invited us over. I didn't realize it was a Super Bowl party until we got there, and there was a couple people there, and they were watching the Super Bowl. And I was like, I thought I just got invited for food. Okay, I guess we'll watch some of the game.
Did you see the Usher concert?
I did not.
You let me down.
Oh, man.
I mean, that was more than I've ever watched before, so maybe next year I'll watch the halftime show as well.
Well,
yeah, the halftime show was pretty. I mean, it was good. It was on par with a good Super Bowl halftime show. The game was good.
Yep.
It actually turned into a good game towards the end. I was like, I'm done with this thing. Kind of like TJ. I was like, I'm done. I don't want to really watch this anymore. The commercials don't seem to be hitting anymore. The commercials were good for the first half, and then the second half, there were no more commercials. So I was like, can I watch something else? I'm going to fall asleep because this is boring. And they got down to the end. It was like a pretty good game. So yeah, good for them.
I was happy for Taylor Swift, glad she won in her rookie year,
She won. She wins everything.
Taylor Swift's boyfriend went all the way.
You know what threw me off though? So they actually changed the commercial. So there's a Coors Light commercial, I think it is, where LL Cool J comes in a train, right? And goes into someone's living room, right? I've been seeing the post Super Bowl version of that commercial. They swapped out LL Cool J. It's some other guy in there. Oh. He says the same thing, but it's a different guy. I'm like, why did they actually change the commercial? I don't know about that.
It was cheaper that way. Maybe he's
Didn't
not getting royalties now. Yeah. It's like, we really just wanted it for the Super Bowl. Nobody's going to notice afterwards.
Well, yeah. Okay, it's not.
My wife was complaining, like, why do they have like all these A status stars? Or I mean, not the A, but the Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was on there. He had a really good one. But it was like, why? Like, they don't need to work. Like Beyonce, obviously turns out she's launching a country album on a Verizon commercial. Yep. So she got some free publicity, but it's like, why they don't need to make commercials. They like literally don't have to work a day in their life anymore. And they're just like, why can't like anybody, like the Michael Cera one, that was actually funny because he's like totally a C or D tier actor and can work on whatever project he wants to because he can do goofy things like that. But like the commercial was good. That was actually funny. It was a lotion commercial for what was CeraVe or something. He's like, my name's right here.
Yeah. And the Arnold one was a State Farm agent. State Farm. He was like, neighbor.
Get me out of this chopper.
They went back through his, catalog of, sayings. It was good. I had to actually Google a lot of them, afterwards because we don't get all the commercials.
So you don't get all the Arnold movies?
Yeah. Well, we got commercials. So I had to like look them up afterwards. There are a lot.
Yeah. There are quite a few. The Deadpool preview movie.
That was awesome. I'm so excited for that.
You had to watch it offline. There was no way they could have played it on the TV because it's a Deadpool movie. Yeah. But that was a very cool crossover I did not expect. Let's just say that. And if you haven't seen it, go see it because it's fun.
That's going to be good.
Well, there's another big event coming up here that I hope we usually do something fun, or at least pop into their YouTube video stream chat thing and start saying hi to everybody in there. And it's the Josh AI Winter Launch Event. So they usually have a nice little video that they hit play on and everybody kind of gathers around. This one is going to be, when is this? It's February 20th, right? At 11 a.m. Pacific or 2 p.m. Eastern.
Next Tuesday.
All right. Be there, be square. But there's a little registration link we'll put to it in the thing. And I don't know, sometimes we go in there and there's all the Josh dealers and people kind of who have registered for it. But I've noticed a lot of the HomeTech supporters and alum, I guess, pop in there and we're having a good time too. So, hey, free YouTube channel thing, chat.
Yeah, I'll be traveling next week, but I did register for this event and I will at least be listening to it. So I'm hoping for some big product announcements. We'll see what happens.
Headphones.
Josh AI headphones. Did you really say that?
Ava headphones, Josh branding.
Compatible with Sonos.
Hopefully we'll see. We may have some Josh headphones. I don't know.
Man, that would be cool. I would probably not buy them, but maybe somebody would.
Well, we got a couple of new stories here that came out this week. So what do you say we jump into these HomeTech headlines?
Let's do it.
Wait. There's one more thing. I think we have to stop the presses on this.
Oh my gosh. This is the coolest thing ever. And if I tell you this, as soon as I say this on the podcast, everybody that's listening is going to be like, this guy is lying. There's no way that he's telling the truth about this. But I have to tell you guys, this is a crazy thing that I learned this week.
Yeah, I'm sitting there minding my own business, and then you post this video, and oh wow! I played the audio for my wife, and she's like, "No, turn it off, turn it off." It's
I didn't even hear the audio, so that's funny. By default, I don't know if it's just an age thing, but by default, I never listen to the audio on a video first. I just watch the video.
After we get through this, everyone, no, you know what? I'll just edit the audio in, and you'll have to listen to it on the show.
Oh man.
Go ahead. So TJ, tell us what you found out and why you found this out. I have no idea why you did this, but you did it.
Yeah. So last fall, I was running some cables for a client who installed a frame TV. And when I was doing that, I had a metal fish tape, and the metal fish tape scraped against the brand new 75-inch Samsung frame TV and just made a nice scratch in this TV. And so, naturally, I admitted fault, and I was like, hey, I'll buy you a new TV. What is that, a 65-inch? And she was like, no, it's a 75-inch. And I was like, whoops, about $1,000 difference there. Yeah. I was like, okay. So I went and bought, a $3,000 MSRP TV. I'm not going to tell you how much I got it for. $3,000 MSRP TV. I put it in. Everything was fine. This client texts me or emails me a couple days ago. And she was like, hey, TJ, I'm trying to get a warranty call out for the TV you installed, but I need the receipt for the purchase because Samsung, needs to verify it or whatever. And I was like, what is the TV doing that you already need servicing? And, it's a brand new TV and it's only 6 months old. And she sent me a picture and she said, well, it's got these lines on it when the TV is off. And she's like, well, and I was talking to Samsung and they think it's burn-in. And I was like, well, burn-in only is noticeable usually on newer TVs when the actual TV's on.
And it wouldn't be a line. It would just be like a logo or something.
Yeah, like an image or something, like the Fox News logo, which all my clients listen to. And so I was like, send me a picture of it. So she sent me a picture of it. And it looked like the packaging lines on the screen, which I've seen before. Whenever these TVs are being shipped, the foam rubs against the screen and it gets lines on it. And that's exactly what it looked like. And I was like, well, it doesn't look like it's damaged. I said, it looks like it's just dirty. Obviously we cleaned it when we installed it, but have you tried cleaning it recently? And she's like, yeah, I've tried cleaning it and it hasn't done anything. And I was like, well, I'm still pretty sure this is just like dirt or something. And so I was looking on Reddit, and there's actually the Frame subreddit, which is only about Samsung Frame TVs, because of course there's a subreddit for everything. And I'm looking around, and I was like, white lines on TV. And I stumbled across this thread, and this thread was talking about the same, it looked literally like the same exact marks. And I was like, all right, cool. So this has definitely happened before. And they confirmed that it was from the packaging. And somebody in the comments suggested that they take magic eraser and rub it on the screen.
Shut up.
And I was like, all right, so this sounds like a TikTok thing or something where somebody's trying to get you to damage your screen, right? And I started looking around, and this is a commonly referenced thing. If your TV, if your Samsung Frame TV specifically is dirty, rub a magic eraser on there. And I'm just like, there's no way that this is true.
This is a $3,000 TV, and you're going to take a magic eraser to it.
Yeah. And so I'm looking at Samsung's website, and I don't see anything officially from Samsung, but in the comments of the Frame TV on the actual Samsung website, one of the brand ambassadors recommended cleaning the screen with a magic eraser. And I was like, okay, well, this is somebody from Samsung that's saying to do this. I don't see anything on the website. So, you know what? I've got this frame TV that I put a nice scratch in. That's not doing anything at the office, and I can't sell it. Like every time I put it up for sale, somebody offers me like $500 for it. And I'm not going to sell it for that. And so I decided, I went to Target and I bought some magic eraser. And I bought a variety pack because I was like, what happens if I install one of these TVs in the bathroom? So I need a bathroom magic eraser and a kitchen magic eraser.
Yeah, they wouldn't work in the other rooms.
Right. I mean, that's what I think, right? And so I buy this variety pack and I go to my office and I put my hand, my gross sweaty hand on the screen, and it leaves a nice big handprint.
Okay, let's clarify what your handprint on your test screen looked like, because the picture, which I will put as the show art or something,
you should,
is like you got done eating a Five Guys hamburger or something and opened up and checked the patty with your bare hand and then went over and put your hand on the TV.
Wow, you're just calling me out like that, Seth. I mean, I don't think it was that bad, but geez.
You printed a good visual there, Seth, so.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're talking about. That's the kind of damage we're talking about here.
All right, if anybody's listening, I do take showers and stuff. I mean, but it was the matte screen seems to pick up everything. If you've installed one of these TVs, like literally anytime you touch it, it looks gross.
Yep.
But I guess I'm just gross according to Seth, but that's fine. And so I put this giant handprint on it, and I just take the magic eraser and I barely wipe it, and it removes the handprint so easily. And I was like,
amazing.
Okay, well, this is weird. And I was like, I wonder what happens if I just take it and treat it like a sponge, like a sponge when you're doing dishes and stuff. And I just took it across the whole screen, like I was cleaning my windows or something. And it just removed everything. And the screen is fine. There's no damage to it.
Is the scratch gone?
I did try that. It did not remove the scratch. I was really hoping, wouldn't that be hilarious?
We're gonna get to that point.
I definitely tried that second, though, because I was like, man, if I could get rid of this scratch.
Magic.
But come to find out, actually, on the Samsung website, there's like a screen care section on Samsung's website where they talk about how to clean your TV. And they have, a section for like normal TVs, and then they have a specific section for frame TVs. And the first thing they tell you is like, try a microfiber. If that doesn't work, use the magic eraser.
Amazing.
And I was like, no. And it's funny, every time you tell somebody this, everybody's like, no, that's not going to work. And I even had some person on Reddit that was like, you're an idiot. Like WikiHow tells you that this is abrasive and all this stuff. And I was like, so like, I'm just not going to listen to Samsung then? And they're like, no, I wouldn't listen to Samsung. And I was like, they're the ones that made the TV though. I'm going to listen to them instead of a WikiHow article.
But they drew pictures.
If you literally tell anybody this, they're going to think you're lying. And they should, because magic eraser is notorious for like taking paint off walls and stuff.
Yeah. I use it all the time when you go onto a ceiling and you draw the speaker circle in the wrong spot. You don't use a pencil eraser because that just smears around the.
Oh yeah.
No, you take a magic eraser and you take the pencil spots off and you're done.
And I don't know if this makes any difference. I was going to try this out, but I didn't have any water on me. To see, you're supposed to use the magic eraser dry.
That's the thing that just. I mean, so like that is what sent chills up my wife's spine when I was playing the video, because it does not sound good.
I mean, it sounded fine when I was doing it, but
the video must have the microphone really close because it's just like scraping like across.
I don't know. It wasn't that bad. But now I'm going around telling everybody. So I went to my distributor who I buy my frame TVs from, and I was like, you're never going to guess this. Samsung recommends using a magic eraser for their TVs. And he's like, no. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I'm not going to tell you that you should tell people that, but it's on the Samsung website, so it's officially sanctioned.
So just to clarify, just the frame TVs though.
Well, so what I think is anything with a matte screen is fine, because I have a matte screen monitor at the office as well that I used it on, and it didn't do anything to it. I mean, it just cleaned it off. And so I didn't try it on like a glossy screen item. But I don't know if it's just like the material on the matte finish of the screen or something that makes it not susceptible to it. I don't know. But specifically the frame TV only. Like I wouldn't go and use this on your C3 OLED.
Yeah, I have these what is the LG Ultrafine monitors in front of me that have a couple of spots I'd like to get off.
Yeah, go ahead and try them.
But they're not matte. They're they're like shiny. They look like your Mac display. I don't know.
I'll send you some, so that way you can try it out for us.
Yeah, now that you're a magic eraser ambassador.
Yeah, but if you want a cool party trick in front of a bunch of like AV nerds and stuff, bring out the magic eraser to clean a frame TV off and watch everybody freak out. No! But it's going to be funny if Samsung changes something on their TVs like next year and this doesn't work anymore and it just like breaks the TV.
It turns out you damaged the TV. And
it's like, actually, the magic eraser is only acceptable for 2024 and younger or older models.
Oh man! And the wild part is that you use this thing dry. There's no I know on the package it's like you're supposed to wet it like a sponge, and just kind of like clean things that way. But
yeah, and depending on the smudge too, you don't have to put much pressure on it. Like I even posted a video in the Slack because I was like, nobody's gonna believe this unless I actually post a video. And I posted a video and I lightly pressed. It wasn't even pressing hard or anything, and it removed the smudges as well. So
I feel like Samsung missed an opportunity here to sell frame TV cleaner.
That's what I'm saying.
They just gave all the business to Magic Eraser. They could have had their own version of it.
They need to come up with a frame cleaner.
Yep.
They have plenty of people cleaning their Macs with like the outside case. Their MacBook Pros with magic erasers, which makes sense because it's metal.
Makes sense. Yeah,
but no one trying the old trick on the screen.
But when I went to Target to pick up the magic eraser, when magic erasers first came out, there was like literally one type. But now there's so many different types. It's crazy. Like there's like a whole like almost half aisle of just magic eraser. They got thin ones and thick ones and bath and kitchen and all kinds of ones. So I just use like the regular extra duty one or whatever.
See, they should have had like the frame TV one,
That's what I'm saying. Right, they have the Disney frame TV. They might as well come out with their own frame magic eraser.
Exactly.
Oh boy.
Witchcraft, I tell you.
Yeah, it is magic. Exactly.
And there was so many comments. I posted like the picture in the Slack, and there was like 60 comments on it within like an hour.
We didn't believe you at first. Like,
I don't, look, I didn't believe it either,
There's a lot of doubt.
Yeah, well, I mean, it sounds absolutely nuts. Like if somebody came up to you and was like, you were telling them that your windshield was really dirty and you couldn't get the smudges off there, and they're like, yeah, take some sandpaper to it. That'll be fine. You'd be like, no, I'm not going to do that. Why would I take sandpaper to my windshield?
All right. I guess you're not supposed to use it on anything with a glossy finish, but with these matte finish TVs, it seems like it might be okay.
That makes sense. Yeah, I was thinking it was something with a matte screen, which the frame is literally the only one with the matte screen.
Right. And it's like the magic eraser is almost like sandpaper, like a micro sandpaper thing. And that's the way it works. Because like you said, it gets paint. You can take paint off. You can take pencil marks off.
It always takes all the paint off. It's amazing. Like every time you go to like you were saying, take the pencil marks and stuff off. Literally the only reason it takes the pencil marks off is because it takes the paint off.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't care. It's a ceiling. It's not my ceiling.
Not my house.
Exactly.
You want missing paint or pencil marks?
Yeah. You're going to have these circles up there, or we can just pretend it didn't happen. Yeah, I don't know. We'll put links to all of these videos, and the audio will have been playing in the background as we've been talking because it's absurd.
Now.
Yeah, interesting stuff. On to the HomeTech headlines, but crazy, TJ. Thanks for using your test screen to try this out.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, might as well use my $2,000 paperweight. So.
All right. Well, moving on here, we've got a multi-room audio provider. Russound has produced a new mini audio receiver. They're calling the AVA series. It's a familiar name. The AVA 2.1 and AVA 3.1. These compact plug-and-play amplification systems designed for custom integrators and offer 2.1 and 3.1 audio with ARC HDMI. It's kind of a unique feature here. There's a couple of these already on the market. I think maybe Snap AV has one. I know ELAC has one, or two models. I'm not sure. But I'm pretty sure this is the first one I've seen that has the ARC HDMI. So the idea behind this, it's a tiny little surround sound receiver, I guess 3.1 and 2.1, if you consider that surround sound. You could hook it up to some speakers or a sound bar and a subwoofer and have it produce decent quality 50 watt audio, I guess, in the room that it's in. Not a bad product. I really like these things. I really like these little mini-AVRs. I think they're a problem solver because they're not the big giant 4-5 RU receivers that we've had in the past. They're pretty limited on inputs. Like they don't have very much they have one HDMI input. You're basically using the TV to switch the audio video. And it's got some, these have like a standard analog input. I think they had some digital inputs on them as well, and the subwoofer output. So, I don't know, a pretty cool product. I'm not even sure how much it costs. It wasn't, because it's an integrator thing. So I wasn't able to find the price on it, but probably not that expensive.
Yeah, this is actually a good idea. So a lot of times I use the Sonos amp literally just to power 2 speakers that are connected to a TV. And, having the smarts that the Sonos amp offers is always nice, but I run into projects where like they don't care about that, but I don't want to install like a giant receiver because I want to maintain the HDMI CEC control. And so stuff like this is really nice. I wish they were a little more powerful though, because almost all of these little amplifiers are about 50 watts. And like, that's nice, but sometimes like right now I have a project going on with Sonance invisible speakers, and I need one that's like 150 watts. Mm-hmm. And so I can't get that with this. I have to go with a Sonos amp at that point, even though we're not going to use all the capabilities of it. So this definitely has a good market. I just wish it was a little more powerful.
Yeah, I think the power is limited basically by the size, because this is probably, I think if you stacked 2 of these on top of each other, that would be the height of a Sonos amp. But yeah, it's a nice little product. I suspect we'll probably see more of these. There was a couple of years back, and it was after the good Marantz went away, but Marantz had a 2 rack unit surround sound receiver that I absolutely loved because it actually fit within 2 rack units. And it was a full receiver. It had HDMI switching, had a couple of analog inputs if you ever needed those. But it didn't take up 5 rack units or 6 rack units of space, Yamaha. So it's just too much space for a cabinet. Like, give me something small.
Yeah, well, especially you're not going to use like the full capabilities of it. I mean, some of these amplifiers have like every single input, and like most of the time I want HDMI and that's it.
Right. Well, they have 8 HDMI switchers on them or something like that, and you really just want to hook a cable box, a Blu-ray or a game system up to it, call it a day. Like, you really just need 2 or 3. I don't know. Like, that's why I like these little things that can go in. Like you said, if it had a little more oomph to it, or maybe they come out with a more powerful one in the future, that'd be cool too.
Yeah, and even if it was just like a little bit bigger. I mean, even if you made this thing like twice the size that it is, it'd still be significantly smaller than an AV receiver.
Yeah, make it wide. I don't know. Maybe it's like a height thing. You have to have the height to get more power. Yeah. I don't know.
It's kind of a weird name though. I wonder if that's going to be a problem for them eventually.
It probably stands for something. AVA series mini-AVRs. I don't know. All right, well, let's move on here. Interesting. This story, I think, TJ, you may have posted this at the Hub, but this is an interesting thing that's happening up in Minnesota, because why not? But there have been serial burglaries. I can't even say those words together. This is just not going to happen. So let's just say people were robbed. And it's suspected that this has all been done with using Wi-Fi jammers that would disable connected security cameras, where they could use the Wi-Fi jammers, break in, and then leave, and then there's no video of them actually breaking into the house or no alerts hitting anybody. So interesting. I mean, popular brands like Ring, Blink, Nest would all be vulnerable to this kind of attack, and Wi-Fi jammers are pretty easy to get these days. You can get the old flipper thing, right? Gavin, you were saying they're going to ban that one in Canada, but
Yep, they're working towards banning them in Canada because they're only used for one thing up here: stealing cars.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they're doing that up there with them. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know how you would ban that one in particular because it's open source hardware. But
well, just ban the import of it, I guess.
But it's open source hardware. Like, you can just piece it together.
Yeah, that's true. But most people are lazy. They're not going to piece it together. They're just going to buy a finished product.
Depends on how many cars you want to steal.
Well, that's true. I mean, criminals usually follow the rules, so
right.
They're going to listen.
Criminals can't use a soldering iron. God forbid.
I can't use a soldering iron.
I don't know. It's interesting. Something I guess I would not have really thought too much of in the past, but I have always tended to lean towards having the hardwired cameras in the first place. But yeah, like if somebody did this at my door, they would definitely take out my doorbell because it's a Wi-Fi doorbell, right? And come up and steal the package. No one would ever know, except they'd be on like 3 other cameras walking up to the house and their car would be logged. So yeah, there you go.
And, I've heard of them like jamming the signal. So like almost like they would shine something in the camera and it would cause the camera not to pick up, any video. It would block it pretty much. Right. So this, I'm not shocked to hear this, but if you have one of those cameras, you have them on Wi-Fi. Sometimes, those cameras also allow you to put an SD card in it. Mm-hmm. So just throw in the SD card, set it as default, so it records when there's motion, and just leave that in there. And it's a good backup. It's not going to be your primary, but if something like this were to happen, at least you could go to the camera and you just refer to the SD card and bam, you have the last, how many hours worth. So that's just one thing you should think about. All my cameras have SD card backups as well.
Yep. Good idea. Always good. You're not going to get that with Ring, but some of the other ones you will.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We always knew like this is a vulnerability. I think it was like Simply Safe and a couple other, the cheap do-it-yourself security system years ago. They found out that you could easily jam all the signals and stuff like that. And so it's just interesting to see this actually happening. It's always been like a hypothetical or that we knew that it could happen. But now we actually have proof that, people are doing this. Hardwire your cameras.
Yeah, I do remember that. They were basically flooding the Z-Wave spectrum or one of the two before Z-Wave had the ultra secure security thing and basically just making a bunch of noise, and the signal would never be picked up or dropped off because it was just it was a signal and a bunch of noise. You'd never the hub or whatever, the security panel would never hear that to trigger the alarm. So interesting stuff to keep an eye on it. Well, big news out of Sonos. Those guys. They're hot to try to give you some headphones, right?
Sonos headphones? Is that what that is?
Nope. You're not getting those. But we do have a scoop on Sonos is developing its own TV streaming device called, wait for it, Sonos TV.
So original.
I guess this comes from a patent application that reveals the Sonos TV will heavily rely on smartphones for setup, control, and content discovery. And the application also suggests that Sonos may offer a unique feature to entice existing Sonos soundbar owners to purchase the streaming device. The Sonos TV is focused on providing a better user experience by using smartphones instead of a remote control with buttons, which is not a better user experience. I don't know. This is not what I think anybody wants. But good luck, Sonos, if this is the direction. This sounds like they just made a Google casting device. Maybe they're just trying to get sued by Google now?
I can't even believe they're going to force you to use a cell phone as your remote. Like, if nobody's home, you can't, with a cell phone, you can't use your TV then. Like, it just doesn't sound good, that aspect.
The only comment I've seen about this that makes sense, and I'm not trying to justify this because I think this is an awful idea anyway, but synced up video is the only thing that I've seen that actually makes sense. Because right now, the issue with streaming is that like you could have an Apple TV on two different TVs. Even if you start the streaming at the same exact time, they're going to be out of sync. Mm-hmm. And if you wanted to fix that, you have to spend many thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So that's the only like application that I've seen that actually makes sense. But I don't think that's enough to make me switch away from my Apple TV, mainly because I only watch TV one place at a time. I can see why people would want that, though.
And it comes down to apps, too, right? Like, your Apple TV has every app out there that you want, right?
Right.
So that, they better have this. But this could also be the gateway to the Sonos headphones. You'd have to connect it to this to be able to, I'm just throwing that in there for you, TJ.
The app thing I don't think is that big a deal because they'd probably just make it Android-based.
Yeah.
Like everybody else that makes a streaming box.
The remote thing really, and the reason why I don't like, cell phones and Sonos is because every time a new cell phone comes out, it takes them forever to be able to, you can't use it to calibrate your Sonos. It takes them forever to release that update for it, right? So you always have to have one older cell phone around so you can do your Sonos dance.
Yeah, you think somebody at Sonos would be able to get their hands on a new iPhone, so that way I don't have to wait 6 months to calibrate my system.
Exactly.
I don't even know if I can calibrate it now. Like, I know when I added my new speaker a couple months ago, I still couldn't. So
I just calibrated mine not too long ago.
Good. I'm glad you can do it now. It always takes them so long. Feels like forever.
I remember you saying that, and it just gave me another reason to delay not doing it. But I eventually did do it.
Well, it's always like weird when you're at like a client's house and you're setting up their system and you're like, oh, let me go ahead and use my phone. Oh, well, actually, I'm running the newest beta or whatever. Can I borrow your old iPhone so I can calibrate your system? Like, why? Well, it's not available on the newest iOS.
Yep. Still there's no idea if they're going to have a remote in there. I guess this patent application, this is just a patent application. This is something they're throwing, at the wall to see if anything sticks on it. It's just it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get approved for this patent because it's generally talking about stuff that definitely has prior art associated with it. So I don't really know, but this is what companies do. They do all these patent things, and then later on they sue Google for infringing on them, and then get tossed out at the end of the day. What happened with that one? I'm not even sure. It got tossed out, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bouncing around the courts. Who knows?
Yep. So they filed for some more patents. It also has some social stuff to it. So you can recommend your friends to watch things that they can't see because they don't have your Netflix or Disney Plus login anymore. So yeah.
Pass. Give me headphones, Sonos. Don't work on this. If they release this before headphones, I'm going to be salty.
Oh, this is coming out before
I'm
headphones.
I'm going to be so mad. I'm going to throw all my Sonos in the trash.
No, you won't.
I won't. I spent too much on it.
Sunk cost, right?
And then I have to go to Yamaha Music Cast or Denon Hios. Yeah, I'm never touching Music Cast again.
All right, let's move on here. We got one more weird story coming out of the EU because why not? There's new European Union regulations that come into effect on January 1st, 2026. That will prohibit the manufacture and importation of mercury-containing products, including the lamps used in projectors. The new law also applies to ultra-high performance or UHP projector lamps, meaning the projectors that use those UHP lamps will no longer be available for sale in the EU, and the owners won't be able to buy replacement bulbs either. Many of the top current 4K projectors now use LED-based light sources, which have a longer lifespan than those old bulbs. And those UHP lamps, the projector lamps, the normal ones, the ones I have, the one that normal people have, have a projector. Those only last 2,000 to 4,000 hours. The LEDs can last 20,000 plus hours. So pretty good, I guess. At this point, in 2 more years, I would suspect that most of those smaller entry level projectors will have switched over to some kind of LED based light source. But here you go. Thanks, Europe. We're gonna get some nicer projectors because of this, I'm sure.
Do you think all the Americans will start hoarding lamp-based projectors now? Like some people did the old bulbs. Oh my gosh, they're getting rid of my lamp projectors.
And then those bulbs lasted all of 6 months because that's what they normally did. And then
yeah, I mean, laser projectors are definitely much nicer.
Yeah,
I can see why somebody would want the old one, but and mainly it comes down to cost. I feel because the laser projectors are not cheap, but they are so much brighter and nicer looking.
Yeah, I mean they aren't cheap, but those products have been coming down in price quite a bit. Some of the fancier consumer related projectors they were talking about on, I forget, I think it was maybe even the Stadia podcast I was listening to. They were very impressed with the performance they were getting out of them for a box that's only $1,000. There's a lot of processing and things going on inside of this little tiny projector that has good performance and an LED source. So I think over time, this is only 2 years away. I think over time the price on the LED light source engine or whatever you want to call it starts going down because clearly we're going to need more of them to sell over into the EU market. And the other ones are just kind of bad because you get those mercury bulbs, over time they'll start saying, hey, I'm going to blow up. And then you're yeah, reset. and you clear out the message and say, oh yeah, I replaced the bulb, wink, wink. And then all of a sudden one day you hear pop. And of course that is the lamp blowing up with glass shards inside your projector now and mercury being, basically emanated into the air. So yeah, they're not good product. I'll be glad when these things are gone. Moving on here, we got German electronics company El Taco. I mean, doesn't sound German, but okay.
Yeah. El Taco, maybe. I don't know.
They released their first Matter product. It is the appropriately named EU D62NPN-IMP Wi-Fi dimming actuator designed for installation in flush-mounted boxes. And it's part of El Taco's existing 62 series. Good job, guys. I'm not even sure what to think about this. It's the first Matter product from the company, but a company I really haven't even heard of before. But they have a bunch of little things that look like Shelly devices, right? So
yeah, that's the first thing I thought of is they look just like Shelly devices.
Yeah, it's a family-run company that's existed since 1949. I wonder what they've been doing this whole time.
They had a long time to sit on their patents.
They're in the mercury projector bulb business, and they're like, "Whoa, we got to get out of this now. Make some lighting progress."
Yeah, they do. They have some DIN rail stuff and some motion sensors and stuff. I mean, they do look very similar to Shelly.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's not like Shelly has a design patent on their stuff. So
they've got confetti.
That's how you know they're serious. They're celebrating 75 years, so maybe that's why we're hearing about them, because it's their 75th.
Interesting. Yeah, this is a very European looking product type company. I mean, Shelly is too, for that matter, right? Like all that form factor.
I wish DIN rail was more popular.
Yeah, I do too.
It seems so much better.
I don't know why we avoid it so much here. It's
only like the super high end stuff here. Like if you go to like the Lutron stuff, or,
right.
Lox one, which is European. So
I don't know. The Control 4 products are DIN rail now as well. So I mean, it's slowly filtering in, but as far as like consumer level stuff, I mean, Shelly has a couple pieces. El Taco does now, but there's not much that is like a DIN rail. Like it doesn't. It's a good standard, but it's only. I've only seen it like mostly in like manufacturing or over in the European Union area, which we had more of it here, like you said. All right. Well, all the links and topics we discussed tonight can be found on our show notes over at HomeTech.fm/470. All right. We have a mailbag this week. It's a follow up from listener John.
Hi, John.
Hi again, guys. Thank you so much for the advice on the Homey Pro. I didn't give much info on my smart home devices. He said I started out with mostly Wi-Fi devices, mostly bulbs and some outlets, and he kept his Wi-Fi to keep compatibility with Alexa. Now they have more switches that don't require a neutral wire, and he wants to add. He says I want to add more to eliminate the Wi-Fi bulbs. More switches. He evidently has wiring requirements that he doesn't have neutral wires, and I totally understand that. I'm an old house. Same issue here. So back to his original reason for writing in. He says, I'm not opposed to spending the money and time to switch over if he can gain features. For example, might there be a more advanced routine creation language? It could also be as simple as the FOMO, fear of missing out. He says, I do like a new gadget. Anyway, if you have any more suggestions based on this new information, I'd love to hear it. All right. Well, he also says he can't afford the $75 per half hour of Gavin as a service fee. So I don't know, guys. Like Gavin, I guess you're out. You can't say anything.
You have to.
My God, yeah, I'm gonna throw him a bone here. Some free. First of all, I appreciate that you put a dollar amount to my time, and you gave me $75 for half an hour. That's pretty good, I've appreciated. That's a good price. And that's the early, adopters fee. It's going to be going up from that. So, get your
the early birds
now.
fee.
Yeah, that's the early.
I was gonna say that's pretty cheap. So
I'm just like, get it now. But yeah, I think you just probably have FOMO. SmartThings is a very capable router. Like it could do a lot of advanced automations and stuff. So I don't think honestly, I don't think you're gonna get too much more power when it comes to creating automations if you went to something else. My only advice is if you never want to, suffer from FOMO again, go to Home Assistant. You'll never worry about any other hub after that.
You'll be suffering from other things.
Yeah, you'll be too busy doing updates.
Terrible
updates. You'll be doing updates so much that you'll never have to worry about another hub again. But yeah, if like I said before, if the SmartThings is working for you, just stick with it and wait until you outgrow it. You might have a specific project and you realize you'll never be able to do it in SmartThings. Then start looking at something else, right? But if it's all working, just stick with the SmartThings for now. It's cheap, it works, no reason to change. Change could introduce other issues. I've seen that too, where you wanted to go to something newer and the new platform had the 800 chip and it would cause other issues that, you never had before and you'd miss your SmartThings. So, don't worry about it. Just stick with what works.
I think there's like you said, if there's something that's like a major thing that he wants to do that you simply can't do on SmartThings, or like you're alluding to, and I don't think you're saying it, but like, what if he switches over to something else and loses compatibility with, a few $100s worth of equipment that he has to go out and replace? Like, that's not worth it. So
yeah,
stick with what and, kind kind of stay there. And then, it's always good idea to kind of keep an eye out for the latest and greatest, but at the same time, the latest and greatest is always what breaks first.
Exactly. And sometimes when I'm having FOMO, I just go read, the subreddit or the forum, because there's always people complaining about the issues they have with the product in those. And then it makes you feel better. You're like, I don't have to deal with that problem, so it gives you an idea of what you'll be getting into if you were to switch over, right? That's all I have to say, and that only costs you $15.
No, $75. It's a flat rate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Invoices in the mail.
You can't be giving in. Yeah.
Okay. Is it half-hour minimum? All right. Yeah. Just send it to our Patreon account.
Mine's always free though, so.
Funny. Well, what is your advice, TJ?
Yeah, that's why it's free.
You didn't say anything.
My Gavin subscription is always free. I don't want to start charging me.
Oh yeah.
I'll rack up a giant bill. Yeah. I don't want that.
You're taking advantage of it though. Like the number of questions. It's never an easy question too. I actually have to do research for your answers.
I basically use you to Google.
Yeah.
I could use ChatGPT for that, but
Gavin GPT.
Yeah, Gav GPT. I'm gonna have to spin one up. Okay.
Gavin, Google this for me. How do I solve this?
Oh my God, we should do that. We should train a large language model on the knowledge that Gavin has, and just take transcripts from the show. From all the projects that he's talked about for the past year.
So you can do that with ChatGPT right now. You can make a plugin or whatever, and you can have it answer whatever questions you want and everything. So you can feed it information yourself. So we could put one on the HomeTech.fm website, and so people could use it.
Well, I'm going to add that to the list of projects I'll probably never do. But if it does happen, we'll be sure to talk about it. Free. That'll break our Gavin as a service business model, though, I think. Maybe not. Maybe we'll be able to scale up a little bit more.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We'll make more money.
Yeah, I can answer more questions.
Gas.co is available. Gas.us. Well, he's a gas.pro. Gas.lol. I mean, it's all kinds of domains available for this.
I've already bought the Gab GPT one, so.
Yeah, well, we can use that one.
Gavin.chat, is that one available?
Am I going to get licensing here? I hope I get some,
no, don't worry about it, Gavin. It's taken care of.
Every time someone asks a question, I get a percentage,
Yeah, let's see how this New York Times lawsuit goes, then we'll talk.
All right, sounds good.
If they don't get anything, I feel like you shouldn't get anything.
Jeez.
I can get Gavin.chat. It's available.
Just chat with Gavin.
Gavin.
Gas.info.
It's too good. All right, let's move on here. We got a pick of the week, and this one's a genius idea. I don't know if it's a genius idea or just the most Rube Goldberg way you could possibly do a garage door sensor. But we'll put a link to this TikTok video, I guess, in the show notes. And if you want to watch the TikTok video, he's got a garage door, and the railing that the little garage door rollers kind of go up onto and that hang from your ceiling. Well, he has fixed or attached a regular old Decora style light switch right at the point where the little roller would roll over. And of course, it's the Decora, it looks like a ramp. It kind of goes up the ramp and pushes it down because it's a heavy garage door and flips the switch. And he's got it, I don't know what he's got it connected up to. He's got these wires dangling below it and kind of running off into the ceiling. But that's what he's using to keep his garage door closed.
I think it's just genius because I would never have thought to put a switch under the roller there. The idea is so 1990s, but the thought, the effort he put into it, running those wires all the way. I think it was back to his thermostat. He ran it back to with a little light or something like that.
Yeah.
But all the effort he put into, could just be replaced with one little, sensor now, but it's more of a I would never have thought of this. It's smart.
There's no batteries. He's never going to have to, there's no wear and tear. What's going to, the Leviton switch will probably break in 20 years. The garage door will fall apart before then. The LED light inside the thermostat, that thermostat has been replaced recently. You can see that it's got the back plate and the door trim has been chopped away to install it. So it's not getting replaced until, another 10 years. So he's good to go. I think No batteries. There's no service. There's no home assistant to crash in the background. No, this is the way to go. He's bested us all.
I don't think it's integrated with anything. It's kind of like
it's just a light. He can walk by and see the light's on the thermostat.
Smart tech.
Yeah,
but you got to take it up to the next level and put it on like a Z-Wave relay or something like that, so we can hook it up into Home Assistant, and then bam, integration right there.
No, come on. This needs to be a movement. Somebody needs to like replicate everything Gavin's done in his house, all analog, just like this, all analog circuitry, relays, magic switches, LED lights around the house. Somebody's got to be able to do this. This is going to be a movement. Amazing. Well, good job, Random Genius on TikTok. We appreciate that. And your pick of the week this week. All right. If you have any feedback, questions, comments, pick of the week, great ideas for analog home automation, give us a shout. Our email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm, or you can visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out that online form. All right, project updates. Guys, I changed a battery this last week.
Ooh.
I changed multiple batteries. I don't know if I ever said I did order those batteries for the UPSs. I swapped them all out, got them all working. They're banged up. They look like a car ran over them, but you know what? They work. They work fine.
Good thing batteries don't catch on fire or anything.
I replaced the batteries, brand new batteries. Took it all apart.
Oh, the old ones looked like they got ran over by a car.
The old batteries were okay. They were fine. Like, I mean, they weren't good. Like there was some that did not have the charge capacity that they needed or whatever. They're like under voltage. So I just got on Amazon and ordered an 8-pack of these heavy batteries. And I think I said on the show the other day.
So heavy in the box.
Yeah, they Amazon put it in front of my door and I couldn't get out in the morning. So thanks, guys. But yeah, those aren't the batteries I dealt with over the weekend. I will put a picture of this somehow, maybe as a cover art or something, but I have never seen one of these things. I've got a AA in this hand and I've got a half AA in this hand. And this is the battery that was in the door sensor of the little Eve, door sensor, that I have on my daughter's door. So we make sure that she stays in bed at night, which I guess I did do this. I did upgrade it finally. The reason I had to replace it because it wasn't working. I was like, why isn't this stupid thing working? And I pulled it off the door and brought it in. Like it's working. I connected to it with my phone. It's working fine. Upgrade to Matter. Oh, what's this do? And I press the button and it goes through this process and it's like going through blinky, 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 devices rebooting, upgrade failed. I'm like, well, why? And I was like, it's got to be the battery. 2021, it says on there, let's replace the battery, Matter upgrade goes through fine. So now, instead of using the Thread network, I'm using the good old Matter network with HomeKit and everything. So I have officially my first Matter installed device in the house. I've got one device on my Matter network, Gavin. No, you're jealous.
Wow. I'm actually impressed that, you didn't give up when it failed the upgrade and just say, screw it and put it back in the drawer. You actually completed it. Like, I'm actually impressed at that.
I mean, it took 3 more days because I had to order this like random half AA battery, which is the weirdest thing. Like, this is crazy. You could put 2 of these together, one on top of the other, and they are about the same size. But there's the same voltage as a single AA. So figure that one out.
I hate when vendors use some weird batteries. Like I got used to the coin cell ones, the like CR2032s, because a lot of my devices use those.
Yep.
I have a few devices that use a bigger version of that. But when you start getting into those exotic battery sizes, you only have one device that uses it, but you gotta keep a backup battery just in case. Oh, yep. That drives me nuts.
Oh, the worst part is I couldn't just order one because, I couldn't because I would have, but it didn't make any sense. But I ordered 4 of them and now I've got 4 of these things that are going to be around for the next, 20 years because I'll probably lose them. But yeah,
you have to order more next time.
That thing, I mean, yeah, I had to have ordered that. It had to have been like 3 or 4 years ago at this point. I'm not even sure when I bought that. Maybe it's on Amazon. I can look it up. But yeah, so guys, I changed the batteries and upgraded some firmware. Have Matter device running in my house. Yay!
Look at you.
Changing batteries. What's next for Seth? Sky's the limit.
Did you ever finish that range hood?
No, I'm going to have to do something on that now because I broke the buttons the other day. I was pushing them in and I pushed them in a little too hard. And,
man.
Yeah, so I've got I have all the parts and pieces still to do that. And I need to go in and swap that mess out and, fix the pushed in buttons. They're very frustrating. When you press, they're not like a push in button. They're just like, you're supposed to put your finger on them. And then it like, there's the delay while it detects it's stupid. Like what I want to do is touch it and have it instantly react. So that's definitely going to be part of my shenanigans when that happens. So, I guess you guys have probably been busier than me because I changed the battery and pressed update.
Well, I think I've been almost as busy as you.
Oh, nice.
I I've been on a Philips Hue kick recently.
Oh, yeah.
Changing out my recessed lights that I installed when we first moved in here because they suck. And there's just not enough light in a lot of my spots. And so this past week, I decided to tackle the hallway. And so I'm using Innovelli Blue switches again in the hallway, which I've had installed working fine. They're in smart bulb mode now with 3 recessed Philips Hue lights. And so the hallway was getting dark at the end. It was kind of sketchy, if I was going to bed or something, I needed some more light. But I also wanted more light right outside my bathroom. And so I ran some new electrical for those. I got the new lights installed and it works great. It works just like the kitchen does. They're super fast with the Zigbee binding. I'm using Zigbee to MQTT. And it was a breeze to set up, as soon as the Philips Hue came on, they paired, and then I updated them. The update always takes forever. It took like 40 minutes to update each bulb. But after that, I was good to go. And I have, color tunable and white tunable and all that stuff in the hallway now. And I actually have adequate light. I was going to go with 4-inch ones because it's like a smaller space. But I went to Menards and they actually had a 4-pack of retrofit can light housings that were clearance for some reason. And I got them for like $35 for a 4-pack.
Oh, not bad.
And so I was like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and just put 6-inch there. So they've been working great and I'm very happy with it. And I have good light everywhere now. So
when you guys use the Zigbee bindings things that I've been hearing so much about from Gavin, first Gavin.
Oh, I talked about Z-Wave associations.
Well,
TJ did the bindings. So they're the same thing, just for each technology, though.
So Z-Wave or Zig. Okay, so I kind of have the same question in relation to both of the platforms, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
So you're basically taking a controllable switch and binding it or associating it with a light or group of lights to turn on and off at the same time.
Yeah, so basically, so you have to use, and Gavin can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but you basically have to use Zigbee to MQTT in order to do it for the Zigbee portion. But basically, there's something in Z2M, the protocol there, that's called groups. And so basically, you create a group with all your lights, and then under the device itself, which would be the light switch, you go in there and you bind that group of lights to the light switch. And that way the communication's instant. It's going from the switch directly to the light bulbs or whatever sensors you have hypothetically.
And if the server is down, it still works?
It still works.
Oh, okay. So it's just kind of a setup thing that's happening through the MQT thing that's okay.
Yeah, well, and it's like an official thing from Zigbee, but for some reason it's not available through like the default integration of Home Assistant. You have to get the other thing.
Okay. Makes sense.
But yeah, it makes it nice though because it is like so quick. I mean, like if you came into the house and just turned on the kitchen lights, you would have no idea they're smart bulbs. It's just they work like regular bulbs, and so the dimming and the on and off and everything is like just as fast as using normal lights.
Nice. Okay, so here's my question, and the answer is probably yes, because the way it sounds like this sets up. If I am using the integrated side of it, right? So if I'm using Home Assistant or whatever is attached to the MQTT thing, do you still get like events that come off the keypad for like presses and releases and that kind of stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that it doesn't override based on that. You still get those events that come in. The lights are just reacting to whatever's going.
Yeah.
Yep. And the bindings and associations they're very basic what you could do with it. So for like switches, you can only like do like when you press on or off. Basically, you can tell it to send that same command, an on and off command to a light bulb, right? Mm-hmm. But like my Innovelli switches have the little config button and they send events, but I can't bind anything to it. I can't associate anything to it, right? Like you could just do basic stuff. You can associate, it also depends on the vendor because my Innovelli dimmers allow me to associate level changes, right? So if I had 2 dimmers, I can have them syncing their level changes through associations as well. Right? So that they show the same.
Well, because they have the same little light on the side.
The level on it, right? And it's really cool. It's instant too. You just gotta be, if any of the listeners are thinking of doing that, just be very careful, that you don't create a loop because, It will be sending it to one, and then that one does a level change and then sends it back, and then that does a level change and sends it back. There's another setting. You look it up, you'll find the other setting you have to turn off, so you avoid that loop and flood your network. But
okay,
it's very good. And you can even do, like, it's not just with switches. You can associate things like door contact sensors.
Mm-hmm.
So when the sensor opens up, it can send an on-off command to a switch, right? Directly, right? So
so if you have like a lamp or a light or something like that.
It's like hardwiring your automations in.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
because
it's
it
very
doesn't,
basic.
right. Well, and it has to be, because you don't need to have like if-then logic type things built into it. You're not going through the crazy processor thing. So that makes a lot of sense. Okay, cool. I was just, my question was like, if I did still want to do all that stuff, do I have the option? And it sounds like I do. Like I could still do like logic, or when the key gets pressed down or something like that, or triple, double tapped, whatever. Those may be other bindings you can do. I don't know. But like I would still want to do maybe that kind of stuff. And I wouldn't want to lock myself into just like, oh no, this light switch does that. And I can send commands to the lights, but not the switch, or, whatever.
Well, right. And so I have a good example, I think, is applying what you're talking about. So in our den, we have LED strips. So in the den, I'm using a Zoo double switch, the one with the dimmer up top and the little button at the bottom. I'm using Z-Wave associations with that. And I have it controlling our LED strip. I have a Zoo's RGBW dimmer that's controlling my LED strips. And so that turns on with Z-Wave associations. But I also have it to where my twinkly lights are automated as well. And so whenever I hit the button on the switch, it turns on my twinkly lights and the LED strips. So you can still have it.
So the extra automation, because the twinkly doesn't have that. Yeah.
Correct. It's not Z-Wave, so I can't associate it. But you can still tie it in and everything.
Okay. Yeah, that's a perfect example. I was wondering if you could do that and still, but if your controller's down or the network's down or whatever.
Right. That part
wouldn't work, but you'd still be able to go in and turn your lights on and off. I really think that's great. I'd love to see that come to like the more pro products like Control 4, because if your processor dies on Control 4, you cannot turn your lights on. And it's been a big issue.
Yeah, and that's annoying.
And that's why I worked on the project to convert my floodlight cameras over to Z-Wave, the lights part of it, because I found if Home Assistant was giving any kind of problem, like if there was a slowness or if it was offline, my backyard lights just wouldn't work. So now that I've converted the lights over to Z-Wave, the association doesn't care. It will just always work.
Cool.
And then this past week, I have the under cabinet lights, which I really like in the kitchen. But they were also using a Zoo's RGBW dimmer, and they work fine. There's nothing wrong with them. But I have the Innovelli switch in the kitchen that controls my Philips Hue lights. And I was like, you know what? It'd be really cool if I can control my under cabinet lights with the same switch without going through automations. And so I picked up some third-party knockoff Zigbee RGBW dimmer, and I hook those up to my under cabinet lights instead. And so those are controlled at the same time as my kitchen recess lights now. And so whenever I turn the switch on for the lights, all my lights come on, and I can adjust the brightness and everything that way. I wish I could do the double taps with the Zigbee binding. That's kind of like, that would be super nice. Because I would like it to where if I, double tap on the light switch going up, it would turn the cabinet lights on and stuff. But they're all together. That's fine. I mean, it's not a big deal. I have the under cabinet lights automated in a different way. But that's kind of nice that when you turn, the overhead lights on, your under cabinet lights come on at the same time, and it's just as instant. So I like that.
Nice.
And hypothetically, I don't know too much of this, but I think the Zigbee binding is theoretically unlimited. Like, I don't know if there's like a big limit on that or anything. Z-Wave associations, I think, are only 5 devices. So the Zigbee in that regard is way better for that, because if you have, I have 5 Philips Hue recess lights in the kitchen. If I was doing Z-Wave, I would not be able to add the under cabinet lights. So just something to keep in mind if you're going to venture down that path. The Zigbee is better for that.
I'm not going to, but it's good that I can't.
Do it, Seth. Do it.
I mean, it's really awesome that these products exist. Like, and we kind of had a story that we punted on, which was like, I shouldn't have ignored. It was some tech article about they ignored Zigbee and Z-Wave for years or whatever. Now they figure that they're the pretty good product, and like
as they're dying.
Yeah, right. And then I was like, well, I've used mostly Zigbee through Control 4. It's just what I've known that worked and how it works and all that stuff. The longest. And Z-Wave was always there, but it never was good. Like, honestly, when I would have...
It was so trash until like the 500 series?
Nah, I would say it was trash until the 500. The 500 was really reliable. When we got to the 700 series controllers, it was a pain in the ass again. And I think the 800 is getting much better. My 800
And that just came out.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember like when I first got started in automation in like roughly 2014, so it's 10 years now, you would have like a Z-Wave hub at the end of a hallway, and 20 feet away, you'd have a Z-Wave door lock, and you would have to install a Z-Wave repeater. Yep. Like, it was absolute garbage. And I remember like all the professionals being like, this is never going to work. Like, nobody's ever going to use Z-Wave. And, I think we've talked about it dying and all that good stuff, but it works substantially better now, and where you don't have those range issues. And so it is a lot better than what it was even 10 years ago.
Right. I mean, that's what I've always known it. I guess where it still kind of sits, but it sounds, I mean, I know that Z-Wave is doing a lot better these days, clearly. I guess, but it's taken this long for them to really release a product that's solid, like the 800 series controller product that you're talking about. I just, it's been a long time. And like you said, TJ, when the pros are installing something, if we install something that like doesn't turn your lights on, it's a problem. It's a financial problem that we have. So we just don't install those products. We never would touch them. But now it sounds like, I mean, Innovelli has a bunch of products out. Zeus has a bunch of products out. I think that, integrators in the pro space should be looking at these products a little bit more now. There's less margin in them, but they work.
Yeah, and even nowadays, if you tell like an integrator that you use Z-Wave, they'll almost dismiss you immediately.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because those previous experiences, which you can't blame them. You know what I mean? If you used it in the past and you got burned on it, you're probably not going to use it again.
That's why I won't use Logitech remotes.
Yeah, same reason I won't use Yamaha Music Cast. So. Just takes one bad experience.
Or about 40 of them. 40 bad experiences with a Logitech remote.
Nothing better than getting a text in the middle of the night because somebody can't control their lights or their TV.
Yeah. Nothing like having to go through the dance of reprogramming the remotes and you have to connect the USB thing that was installed behind the AVR for some reason, why the tech put it there. And it didn't have a disconnectable, like you had to unplug the power and the power cord didn't unconnect from the little USB to IR hub thing that they had, it was dumb. It was the worst designed remote product I've ever come across. And eventually they did put a power thing that you could disconnect, but it was too late for me. Sorry, Logitech. You're out of business
That's
now.
why you went out of business. Gavin wasn't enough to keep you afloat.
They make good mice and stuff, though. So there we go.
If I was around back then, you could have used, gas to, help troubleshoot your issues.
Oh man, so many problems with that series, that time frame.
I think Logitech could have used gas.
I don't know. I would have used gas to catch him on fire, throw him in a pit in the backyard. All right, Gavin. What you been up to, man?
Nothing. Just a couple notes. We just found out before the show, Home Assistant has joined the Z-Wave Alliance.
Yay!
So I know they've talked about this in the past. They wanted to certify the Z-Wave JS. So this is just another logical step. So that's good because when they officially become certified, it will just mean they'll be looked at as like, we are a gold standard and we have properly implemented everything Z-Wave into this open library, and others can adopt it and it becomes even more solid, more tested, more reliable. So that's a good thing, moving forward, they're making big strides with this. So that was one thing. I also noticed on one of the libraries, the Node Z-Wave JS update recently, they implemented NVM restore updates. So where this is important is if you're planning to go from a 500 or 700 series controller to an 800, you can now do a backup and restore. Whereas when I was trying to do this wasn't available. So I had to manually go through all 90 devices, and that does kill battery pretty bad. So yeah.
I remember you having that problem. So yeah, nice little feature update for creature comfort thing.
Yeah, it'll just make the migrations easier. So wait for that before you decide to move over. Just a follow up on my rat GDO issues. I'd like to thank everybody that chimed in saying I should use ESP Home. Yes, I know I could have used ESP Home, and I'll be the first to say I was lazy. I didn't want to go into the garage and pull out everything and reprogram it for ESP Home when I already had it working with MQTT. Well, somewhat working with MQTT. So I was going to suffer through it just for you. But the good news is, I don't know which of the 500 Home Assistant updates in the last week may have fixed it, but it's been reliable for the last couple weeks. So it's kind of gone back into my, I can recommend this now. But the good thing is even if you do get it, this is why I'll recommend it. Even if you do get it, you got 3 options. You can go MQTT, ESP Home, or what was the other one? HomeKit, was it? Or something like that. You had multiple options that you can program it with, and that alone makes it, a reliable thing. So if MQTT doesn't work for you, switch over to ESP Home. People love that. So yeah, it's back on my, I recommend it list. If you're a Blue Iris up person, just be careful with the latest upgrades, especially if you're using any of the MQTT stuff. They seem to have changed the casing of some of the values in it, which broke all my automations. And it took me a while to figure this out. Like if it was all uppercase before, why did they change that? I don't know why.
That's silly.
But they probably figured 1% of the people, or just Gavin, is using this. So we could just change it. Yeah.
Trying to get you more business, it sounds like.
I don't know. And, can I talk about this? Yeah, the wife doesn't listen to this podcast. Okay. So, yeah, Prusa 3D printers released upgrade kits for their 3D printers. So I can upgrade from 3.5 or MK3S Plus to probably an MK4. So, I just can't decide. Do I just buy a new MK4? Or do I do the upgrade song and dance? I think I'm going to go just buy a new MK4 and make sure it's delivered during the week while she's at work. So I can get rid of the evidence.
Yeah, then you'll have 2 printers. You'll be twice as efficient.
Exactly. I can use one printer to print out the parts for the other printer, right? So yeah, but if anyone's out there looking at like 3D printers, take a look at the MK4 from Prusa, because it has input shaping, I think they call it now, which doubled the speed. They print extremely fast and people are loving it. The quality is great too. And I'm thinking I'm going to do the upgrade, but the 3D printer is the only printer in my house that I can say I love.
Yeah. If the upgrade was a little cheaper, I would say the upgrade makes more sense. But in this case, it's only like what, a $200 difference?
That's what I don't get. It's like you can buy the upgrade
unassembled,
for
unassembled.
What is it? Almost $600, or you could buy the whole new printer for like $700 or $800.
Yeah, I would just do that.
So, yeah, I think so. I'll spend the extra couple $100.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, might as well. Yeah, I'll sleep on it.
Then you can 3D print a lawnmower. I mean, I think that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, one day I'll get my lawnmower. One day.
If the wife finds out and she's like, wait, where did this other 3D printer come from? You say, I just 3D printed it. And then she'll believe you because you've been doing all sorts of things.
That's a good idea. What 3D? Oh, that one, I just 3D printed that one from the other one.
Found the files.
Yeah. Actually, that's the funny part is you can actually, they have, it's all open source. It's all the files are there for the parts. You could 3D print them all. So like when I was fixing my filament sensor, I 3D printed new parts. They actually updated the designs so that they work better. So when I put the new parts in, they were actually, my filament sensor was fixed. I didn't have to buy a new sensor or anything. I just had to 3D print it, That's nice. The cool thing with Prusa is you could just 3D print new parts. But you need to have 2 printers, because if your printer's broken, you can't 3D print the parts to fix it. So now I need a backup printer. So bam.
Exactly.
I'll sleep on it.
No, just make it now.
No, I'll order it in the morning.
Do it live.
No, I don't spend money live.
No, that was me.
Yeah, Seth and I do. Come on, join in.
Gonna have that Gavin GPT soon, so
you're gonna own all my domain names. Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up this week on the show here. We do want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, but especially those who are able to financially support through our Patreon page. If you don't know about the Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out here on the show, but every single pledge gets you an invite to our private Slack chat, The Hub, where you and everyone else can go in there and be aghast at TJ cleaning a $3,000 TV with a magic.
Yeah, I mean that was the topic of the week this week, and if you're not part of the Slack group, you missed it. I mean, there's all kinds of fun stuff that happens.
Yeah, if that's the FOMO you're missing out on. It's not a new Hub feature or a new Home Assistant feature or a new Homey Pro or Homey Pro Plus, PoE headphones, nothing.
Is TJ going to destroy this TV? That's what you're missing. And I told the client to try it on their TV before I even tried it on mine. You know, I winged it, you know, and that's the kind of experience you get with the Slack group.
I loved your client's response to that, though. I have to admit, like, it was awesome.
Yeah, she was happy.
Oh man.
Well, and so like Samsung, like warranty replacements are awful.
Yeah.
Like I had a client that like we had to take their TV down, and then the tech came out and fixed it. He didn't actually fix it, so they had to like come back out, and like it was just miserable. So anytime you can avoid the techs coming out to fix things, I'm saving you a lot of time.
Yep. Those are warranty replacement things are awful.
Yeah, they're always like third-party contractors that hate their life because they're getting paid like $25.
But if you want to pay $25, you know, HomeTech.fm/support, and we'll tell you how to fix your TV with our magic eraser. All right. If you want to help out the show but can't support financially, totally understand. Just appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes or positive rating in the podcast app of your choice. That's going to wrap all the news this week. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
Take care.
Till next time. Why do you keep showing
What
us
is that? Like, what are those?
There's little pencil
No,
things.
they look like
They're little finger things from like the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's what they were.
I saw you like popping one up, and I was like, what is he doing right now? Is he trying to give us a puppet show?
I thought they were Pez.